Hi everyone, today I just want to make a video around just the smaller benefits you experience. And it's funny, I don't know if it's the right word to say small benefit, large benefit, because all of them just accumulate together to just put together an amazing life. And when I first quit drinking in 2017, I stayed off it for 5 years and stupidly got back on it, and then of July 2025, about 2-3 years kind of binge drinking again. I was just a quintessential British binge drinker, I would call it. In July 2025 I got off it again, and what an amazing decision it was. And there's just an endless amount of benefits out there, and I'll continue to make videos around them. And I just think it's, for me anyway, when I first quit back in 2017, I just used to love watching videos around people speaking about the benefits and listening to people who are maybe a couple of years in when I was a couple of months in, and just hearing how well they were doing and how great they were doing. And I just think it's a brilliant thing to kind of get affirmation that you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing. So hopefully these videos I make around kind of small benefits, whether it be kind of small or larger ones, so to speak, I just really hope that they give anyone out there listening just that bit of maybe extra courage and just extra motivation to keep going. And one of the first things is just being present. And I think this one came more to my attention and mind over Christmas and New Year, because it was my first Christmas and New Year since I'd quit drinking again. So the last 3, say before that, maybe even 4, more likely 3, they were just boozy Christmases. You know, everything's boring as always, so you crack open a beer, oh that's boring, and then you end up just cracking over beers, and before you know it you've just been boozing too much, eating too much crap, just like what most of us do, or most of us did. And it was just brilliant to just sit there with family. And I was over in Iceland and everything was really, really quiet. Everything's closed, it's really dark. It only gets dark for maybe 3-4 hours max, and it's not like today light it gets. It's still quite dim, and the roads were empty. But just being there around people, around family, around friends, and just taking it all in and being present, not being edgy or anxious, and just appreciating everyone's time was just such a wonderful thing. And because it happens to everybody, it's the one thing nobody can escape. And there'll be a day when you go around to a family event, when you go around to kind of a Christmas party at families, or New Year's parties with families and friends, there'll be a day when you go and they won't be there. You'll be looking around, and grandparents will be gone, or parents will be gone, and brothers and sisters. And I think of just being present there, I was so appreciative, like I say, of not being anxious or being quote unquote bored of sitting there. And I just loved every minute, and it just passed so fast. And when I left this time, I just loved it, and I really had a great time. And it was just such a great time that just wouldn't have happened if I was on the booze. Another benefit is always saying yes, and I mean that in a good way, not as being like a yes man. There was so many times before I would be invited to stuff, and I would always say yeah at the time, and I knew I wasn't going, and I would just cancel out. And it can be it was just for everything really, just for maybe if it was day parties that I knew that was kind of going to be again boring, or events that were kind of didn't revolve around booze, things like that, maybe meeting for coffees, I just couldn't be bothered, and I would never say yes. And even times when I was just sitting there doing nothing, and maybe family or friends or whatever would ask me, oh, do you want to just go for a quick walk? Do you want to go to the shop, maybe get an ice cream? I would just be like, nah, it's boring. And just being able to say yes now and really enjoy it, and kind of want to get out and want to see people and want to have good chats and kind of treat myself, and not having everything revolve around the pub. It's just a great feeling. Another one is work. I think we can all agree there's absolutely nothing worse than waking up on a Monday morning and you've been out the weekend, Friday, Saturday, or even like a really heavy Saturday night, and you're just dying. You're wondering how you're going to get through the day. You've got meetings, you've got the beer fear, you know, the anxiety, etc., and you're just wondering how on earth you're going to get through. And you spend so much time at work, as you know. It's a really big thing, and and it's part of your life. And I think you should really, especially if you've got a business and you're volunteering, etc., you should turn up every day, because you're getting paid and you've got people relying on you and colleagues relying on you, and I think you should make an effort. And just to go to work and be absolutely smashing it and on top of everything's great, especially like going on holidays. You're spending the whole week thinking ahead, you're on top of it, and when you come back, you actually don't mind coming back, because you're coming back to kind of a good structure, and you're not needing a week off after your week off, you know, because you've been boozing so much or whatever, and you're just filled with absolute dread. And I think, like I say, it definitely, you know, your business and as well, if you've got people relying on you and you're on top of everything, and you can close your laptop on a Friday and you've truly smashed it, it's just great. Another one is kind of no shame anymore, and I think it's just a great benefit to have, in the sense that, you know, a good example would be after I quit drinking for 5 years from 2017 to 2022, I knew how good I could be. When I actually first quit then in 2017, I remember thinking, I never thought I could feel that good. Like, I genuinely didn't. The amount of energy, how switched on I was. I just wanted to learn and read, and I was so into everything, and I was fit and eating well, and I was like, every day I just felt like I had this superpower. And then when that went away, when I started boozing again in 2022, I would beat myself up 10 times more, especially on the Sundays, the Mondays, the Tuesdays. DIY not done, spent way too much money, even though I said to myself I wouldn't. You said you would go to the gym or the cinema, but you cancelled it. You said you would maybe go out for a meal with somebody on the Sunday for lunch or brunch, but you're too ill and you cancelled it. And I knew deep inside me what I could do, what I was capable of. So that shame was always hanging there, and it would just destroy your kind of like mental health, in the sense that, you know, I know I can do this, but I can't be arsed. I don't have the energy in me, and just to walk about with that no shame was just brilliant. Another one is the early nights. I think there's nothing better at night nowadays. So I'm 5-6 months in. It took me a good month or two to get back into a decent sleeping pattern, and then maybe 3 months before I was like starting to sleep like a baby. And going to bed at night when you've had a great day, you've been up early, you've had a nice dinner, you've done well, you've been productive. I just think there's not a better feeling. And I think I fall asleep now within a couple of minutes. I just lie down, I'm very content, very happy, and I just have this beauty sleep. And of course the good side of that is you wake up full of beans, full of energy, and you just feel like you can take on the world. And it's just, like I say, the sleep I think for so many people is just such a killer. And for me, those early nights, especially when you're not working the next day at the weekend, you don't need to set your alarm, and you've not got the fear, you're not worrying about how awful you're going to feel the next day. It's just a brilliant thing. Anyway, just wanted to make a quick video around the more positive things and kind of less obvious benefits, but there's thousands of them, honestly, and they all accumulate together over time. Some come quickly, some take a few months, maybe some up to a year, and what a wonderful life it makes for. It's just remarkable. Anyway, thanks again for listening. Take care, and see you in the next one. Bye.